Hi, and welcome to the Ethereal Experience. I am Jay, also known as Heterodox Hippie on Twitter.
And I am DM Tryptamine, also known as Johnny, because that's my real name.
We'd like to take a minute before we get into the podcast to just thank you, the viewer, for all you've done. We really appreciate your support, and we hope that we live up to your expectations. Well, we don't really, because expectations are like
The route to disappointment.
exactly that's what Buddha said. So that's not us. But we really do hope that you enjoy this, and you enjoy what we talk about, and you stay with us through this experience. So
Yeah, all of you have made this podcast grow pretty damn fast, and thank you very much. We love all of you listeners.
we value each and every one of you.
So now we'll start the podcast.
I think on this podcast we're going to be talking about quite a few various different topics, but the plan is to start onto psychedelics. So I'm going to hand you over to Johnny, and we're going to go into it.
Psychedelics can be used to kickstart one spiritual journey or spiritualism, but for me, before I first the first psychedelic I tried was magic mushrooms, and before I tried mushrooms, I wasn't really that spiritual. I mean, I just started looking into it and barely scratched the surface, just learning about chakras, and that's really it, and the third eye and all that crap that. But and but when my first time, I was at my house, which was a bad place to trip because I still lived with my parents, and my dad was just very against the use of any drug. But I ate them, and after 45 minutes, I started to feel the body high, and I went downstairs because my dad called me down to get the dinner, and I was 16 at this time, so, uh, yeah, I go downstairs, and as I'm walking down the stairs, I'm thinking I'm not tripping yet, so this shouldn't go that bad, but right when I step into the hallway, I see my dad in the kitchen, and I start tripping balls, and it hits me like a fucking train, a freight train, and I start walking out to him. We when I get into the kitchen, I don't really make eye contact. It was really awkward because I knew my pupils were blown up and very dilated, and he hands me the food, and he's like, "Here's your food." And I start walking away, and he's like, "Wait." In my head, I'm like, "Oh shit, he caught me." And I turn around. He's like, "I forgot to give you the forks," because my friend was with me. And and I literally just in my head, I start laughing, and I start walking away again. He's like, "Wait, I forgot," and I'm like, "Oh shit, he knows now." I turn around. He's like, "I forgot to give you the napkins," and I start busting out laughing because it was the funniest thing ever for some reason. And yeah, it was just pretty hilarious. But I make my way back upstairs, and the rest of my trip, I was just laying in my bed, staring at my ceiling, and there were geometric patterns being projected from my eyes or my mind or whatever. I don't know what the fuck. From my third eye. And I was listening to Juicy J for about 30 seconds, and that was the worst decision I ever made. I understood why my grandparents hate hip-hop or gangster rap. And after I put on Pink Floyd, the trip went pretty well, but not until I started coming down and the visual started wearing off, it became very mental. It was like a flipping a light switch. That's how sudden it was. And I had some things buried in my subconscious prior to the trip, so they were dug out, and it really made me reflect on some choices and just a lot of things. So I ended up just bawling because I couldn't help it. If you haven't cried on psychedelics, you haven't really had a spiritual learning or an epiphany.
I
I would say.
agree. I ended up crying for like 3 hours on shrooms, so
But I was crying and laughing hysterically that I was crying. But afterwards, I felt like my conscience was cleansed, and I just knew where I needed to go and things I needed to do. So it helped me a lot, and I really realized how, even though I knew this prior to the trip, how much bullshit what the church told me was. But I'm not bashing religion either, because there is hidden gems in each religion that don't really get spoke on too often.
I agree. I agree.
So yeah, it made me look inwards rather than just focusing on the external.
I mean, your trip sounds like it really helped you, and I mean,
It did. It helped me a lot because we talked about my past after that tarot reading, and you
yeah,
know, I just faced my demons, so it was the kickstart to finding myself, even though that was when I really found myself. But yeah, it
yeah.
helped me a lot.
I mean, I never really had that kind. I mean, I have tried LSD and I've tried salvia and I've tried shrooms, but none of mine were like profound. None of them were like mind blowing realizations where I like. I don't know. I guess the way I would portray my psychedelic usage would be like prior to my spiritual awakening, there was no real profoundness to them at all. I just didn't enjoy them. I had like maybe a little fun, but for the most part, I was just kind of stressing over where I was and what I was doing. With the exception of Salvia, where I kind of saw like Earth being born. I mean, that was a pretty intense trip. But I guess after my spiritual awakening, I tried shrooms. That's the only thing that I've tried after having my like spiritual kind of awakening. And my shroom trip was, the way I would explain it would be, if you imagine a fire that's already like burning pretty big, shrooms was kind of like just throwing a log onto that fire. It just
A log or gasoline?
just a log. I mean, it wasn't like it didn't kickstart anything. It was
Alright.
kind of like a deepening of what I knew I needed to face and what I'd already begun facing. But it was kind of like almost like a way of fast forwarding through some of it.
Yeah. I mean, I know I made mine sound like a huge like Kickstarter, but yours and my shroom trip was very similar because I'll just state that and make that clear because it wasn't like holy shit, just
Yeah,
it wasn't earth shattering,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it definitely helped me face some things and
Oh
change
yeah,
some
I
things. That's for
cried like
sure.
a bitch for like 3 hours. I mean, I'll give you an idea. I would probably say that my set and setting was probably one of the reasons why this shroom trip wasn't as great as it could have been. The first reason was being I was in my friend's room, and my friend, he basically has turned his room into like a stoner paradise. It has disco lights, it has like LEDs up on the ceiling,
Oh shit.
uh, surround sound like the whole room, and a massive plasma TV. So, I mean, like, for getting high, it's brilliant because you can feel the music, you can like sit, zone out to the lights, and watch a movie and shit like that. I mean, that's awesome. Shrooms, not so much. Like, it's a dark room, there's loads of lights going off, and you're just sitting there like, oh my god, I can't handle this. The second reason why it wasn't that great is after I started tripping out in his room and realised I couldn't handle it in his room, it was a sunny day, or I thought it was a sunny day, and I go downstairs, I go out into his backyard, like, and it's suddenly raining really hard, and I just feel trapped because I can't go sit out in the rain because I didn't have a jacket with me, and I didn't want to get like soaked, and I didn't want to go back to his room because I was tripping fucking balls, and his room was not a good place to be tripping. So I end up
Yeah.
calling my mum like 5 times while tripping, because like, you know, you look at the clock once and you realize that time really isn't moving while you're tripping.
Yeah, like 2 minutes feels like an hour.
I know, I called up my mom like fucking 5 times, like, where are you? Where are you? Come pick me up. Like, and like, you know, eventually my mom like turned up. I think maybe 20, 30 minutes after I had called her so many times. And I guess like I go in the car, and as soon as I got in the car, like, I stopped freaking out. And as soon as I stopped freaking out, that was when like the tears started. I was just crying and crying. I was like, holy shit, like, I'm alive, and I don't know what I was tripping over, but everything was just like fantastic, but at the very same time like awful.
Yeah,
And
I've been there.
so I got home. I like sat in my front room, like got really comfy on the couch, and was just kind of sitting there for 3 hours, like half crying, half laughing. I controlled the TV with my mind at one point, and it turns out like the TV hadn't been on at all.
Yeah.
That was quite a funny experience, because I thought I was convinced I was watching like a TV show. Turns out it like never been turned on. But after all that crying and shit, I felt the cleanse that you kind of referred to. Like, it was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders,
Yeah.
and I'd like kind of fast forwarded some of the dealings that I had been kind of leading up to. So that was great. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it it wasn't like a profound like, holy shit, I know how the universe works or anything like that, but it was a whole, oh great, like, it's time to kind of start anew. It's kind of, you know, give me a clean slate to work from.
Yeah, that happened to me once on like the third time when I tripped with my older brother. I had that same experience, but while I was tripping, I went to lie down on the sand because I was at this river bank that is a mile away from my old house, and while I was lying down, I closed my eyes and I saw these five figures around me. They look like what I'd deem the ascended masters, or what some call spirit guides.
Yeah.
They were five figures and they looked very godly, and I saw this light above them and I started going to that light, and for a second I was like, okay, I'm dying. But what that it just kept on, that little sequence kept on happening over and over again, just me going to that light,
Yeah.
whiteness, like just pure illumination of everything. It was this bright white light everywhere. Like that's all I could see in my CEVs, and then I would just go back to where I was, and then I would descend back to that light, and I had the epiphany that what that was telling me was is that life and death are the same, you know, like they
Yeah,
don't exist, and it's just an endless cycle, and death is just an illusion.
heavily intertwined.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
like they have the same. I don't fucking know, but you know what I'm trying to say. But it's just describing things like that occur on psychedelics. It's just hard to. It's just really
It's
difficult
hard
to.
to put into
Yeah,
words.
it's just you can't describe it coherently, and you're just like, what? And people are like, wait, what are you talking about? And but yeah, it's just it made me understand why the stoned ape theory is like plausible, but it didn't sell me on it, but
You can understand the
yeah,
plausibility.
yeah,
Yeah.
you could think about how one could stumble across mushrooms back in the day when they didn't know anything about the universe they inhabited. So
Yeah.
it's
I
just
I agree. I mean, like the stoned ape theory, it does kind of have some explanations towards what I kind of not how like I believe we came to be, but I think like a lot of religion could be explained by it. I mean, it's not really the belief system that I operate by, but I can see its plausibility, and I'm not entirely ruling it out for that reason.
yeah, it's just
I mean, like if you go back and we're foraging for food, we come across some mushrooms, eat a load of the mushrooms, and trip balls, and don't really have any decent way of describing it. I mean, linguistics back then would have been very, very limited.
yeah.
So the depiction of it could have easily like been distorted over time. But, you know, like at the same time it makes me wonder whether or not language was developed enough for this belief theory to even come about.
What if language was given to us by extraterrestrials? No, no.
It's that is plausible. Like,
Yeah.
uh, I can't remember which race it was. Like, well, not race, but like it may have been the Sumerians. They kind of instead of progressively growing like ancient civilizations did, they like seemed to skip like a billion steps.
Mm.
They had like a fucking belief system and understanding of the universe, like a fucking language. They developed all this, and I don't know the specifics, but I know it came about a lot faster than they usually do, and
Yeah.
a lot of that's been attributed to like extraterrestrials and shit like that.
Wouldn't surprise me, honestly. We'll see. It kind of blows my mind, like just all of the possibilities when it comes to that topic.
I agree. I mean,
Extraterrestrials definitely influence religion. That's certain to me.
yeah. What is if you I think it's the Bible. If you replace any mention of God with aliens, it still makes like the exact same sense.
Yeah.
But I think ancient Egyptians, they definitely like I have no doubt in my mind that there was definitely some alien influence there.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Uh, but then again, maybe the alien influence came from like Atlantis, and then it stemmed to ancient Egypt when Atlantis fell or whatever. But that's like another topic for another time.
Yeah, we're starting to go into something completely different, but yeah, it's just it's an interesting
So back on the
topic.
stoned ape theory, I
Yeah.
mean, what's your views on it?
Uh, I mean, back to the roots of the psychedelic experiences, and every psychedelic experience I've had, it they each psychedelic has the experience I have while on the psychedelics, it it makes me believe in something higher, and it definitely like I told an atheist who was like, I don't believe in a God at all. There is no God. There is nothing higher than us. There's nothing created the universe. No, and I was like, just do a lot of psilocybin and tell me you don't start to believe in something higher. Not believe in it, just doubt your own belief that there is no God. I mean, come on. So I could see it. I don't really know too much about the stoned ape theory. I know basically what it is, but
Yeah.
it's more than just a mere possibility to me. Like
I
I could see that happening. Like if I was fucking living way back then, whenever that theory, whenever I don't know, but yeah, I'm fucking high. But yeah, you
yeah,
know,
I get what you're saying. Like,
yeah,
if you were to go back to that point and
yeah,
trip,
yeah.
you could see how they would
The
mistake it
language
for
was
religion.
just like you said, the linguistics is so limited.
Yeah.
They would just associate it with God and automatically think it's God, and just that one thought would stem down to religion and just the creation of religion and yada yada, you know.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess my belief more. I don't know. I guess I lean more towards the alien theory, but
Yeah.
that's more because of the timelines that I kind of. Christianity came a long fucking time after ancient Egyptians came,
Oh yeah.
and it came a long time after Sumerians came, and it came a long time after Taoism, Buddhism. Well, no, not
And
Buddhism.
even paganism,
Like
not a long
they,
time, but
yeah, like
just an
these all these
adaptation.
religions came before Christianity, and I think a lot of people seem to associate this psychedelic kind of theory with Christianity alone, and I'm like, well, I mean, ancient Egyptians, they had gods. Taoism has Tao, which is like a source, and then it has like demigods like below the source.
Mm.
So again, that's a reference to God. You got Hinduism, they've got fucking loads of gods, like,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be inclined to believe that all these came from like a psychedelic, purely because like I don't know, it just makes more sense that there was some other beings that influenced it rather than just a drug,
Yeah.
in my mind anyway.
I feel like both of the theories
They
are,
could coexist.
yeah, they could definitely coexist. There's a truth in each of the theories, but I definitely believe that the idea of gods came from extraterrestrials descending
Yeah,
from the heavens, like it says in the Bible. What else could descend from the heavens? Like a fucking, it's just a UFO to anyone that knows shit, really.
I agree.
So, yeah, it's just.
I mean, I guess we should talk. We got a little off track, but I think we should talk about our personal approaches to psychedelics.
My
Uh,
approach to psychedelics now is to learn, because I see mushrooms, and even though I haven't done DMT in over a year, I see both of those as the golden teacher,
yeah,
the greatest teacher, other than your own self. But before I awakened, it was just, yeah, I'm gonna have a trip and I'm gonna trip balls. It's like, oh yeah, but you know,
understandable. I guess my approach is more I don't do them. uh, okay, like I've been on some trips, and I would say overall, they did kind of bring something out of me, but I don't really see them as a key to my growth anymore, which maybe sounds a little kind of up myself when I say that, but I don't know. I just know that when you do a psychedelic, the only thing it's doing is bringing out something that's already within you.
Yeah,
So, in my opinion, I don't need them. Like, I can just focus on myself a little more and I'll get the same result.
yeah. But some people, I feel, do need them. I feel like I said, they can be a kickstarter. Someone goes and dives into a trip with the intention just to trip. They may have a profound, earth-shattering realization of whatever they realize.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever they realize might not be what I realized. So yeah.
I definitely don't discount that they've got, like, good to them. I
Oh yeah.
definitely think that for the people that do take them in the right setting for the right purpose, I think the lessons can be very worthwhile. But I think what we seem to forget is we have all these realizations on them, and then we start attributing all that we've realized to the psychedelic rather than ourselves, because at the end of the day it pulled it out of us, like.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't disagree with psychedelic usage. I just think there are ways to do it. There are ways to grow without it.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And we just need to, when you are taking them, you kind of need to realize that it's still you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the growth is all you. It's not whatever you've taken. It's you.
Like, yeah, what you're saying is what I'd say, like, the growth is you, but the psychedelic could remove the opaque.
Yeah. It
But
takes
it's
away
still, yeah, it takes away that filter, so to speak.
and opens you up to
Yeah,
kind of a new perspective temporarily.
yeah, like the raw you, it deconditions you for a few hours and brings you back to who you actually are.
Going back to that quote from Raja Yoga, is better to become a god than to be in a god's presence for a few hours.
Yeah.
And that quote is directly related to psychedelic usage.
Mm-hmm.
What they're saying is psychedelics they can bring you to a state that you want to be at, but you need to learn to get to that state. So you take the psychedelic, you get to a state, and then you need to focus on reproducing that state whilst you're sober. That's kind of the approach that it takes. And a lot of yogis actually share that kind of approach. They take like very small amounts of arsenic and like trip balls apparently, and then what they do is they because they've experienced it, they try and recreate the experience almost like mentally,
Mm.
which is I think is a good approach.
Yeah, that's what I did. And it took a little bit, but I did. I think I succeeded, but I haven't reached my pinnacle yet. I'm still obviously growing spiritually, and
We're all still growing.
oh
Like
yeah,
it's never ending. Well, okay, maybe it has an end, but I'm pretty sure it's not fathomable to us. So,
yeah.
so
The link between psychedelics and the stay with me here. I think you already are, but the link between psychedelic trips when I myself do when I trip or have an experience induced by psychedelic substances like mushrooms or LSD or DMT,
Yeah.
I think my conscious temporarily goes to the sixth state of consciousness, and I feel this overwhelming sense of oneness. I like
Okay.
I could feel it. I could put my hands on a tree and become that tree.
Yeah. I
And
get you.
if I saw someone chop down a tree on, if I witnessed someone chop down a tree on any psychedelic, that would break my heart.
Oh, I agree.
Oh yeah, I would feel like I'm being chopped down. So referring to the sixth state of consciousness, how do you think they tie together? Like they tie, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I would agree. Like the ultimate goal of any yogi is to reach the higher states of consciousness. And when their philosophy, well, some philosophy says that psychedelics will bring you to that state temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
I think to me that does confirm that when you take psychedelics, you temporarily experience a higher state of consciousness. But just because you've experienced it once doesn't mean you should constantly go back to the psychedelic to try and get there. I think you need to condition your sober mind, and you need to be practiced and disciplined to actually reach those higher states with your conscious mind, not with like psychedelics.
Yeah, I agree. And meditation and going
Yoga.
organic and yoga could also help raise your vibration and make you become more conscious and make your conscious ascend into higher states of consciousness.
I agree. Like, meditation is a good way to practice, well, not to practice, but to bring the conscious mind into higher states consciously. And yoga is also another good one because, you know, you're getting in tune with your body, and eating organic and shit like that. That's another good one because, like, it's good.
But now that we're getting into that, I will let you know that there's 7 states of consciousness.
It's
The
always a good topic.
the first state of consciousness is waking consciousness, and the second state is deep sleep. The third state is dreaming. The fourth state is pure awareness. The fifth state is cosmic consciousness. The sixth state is God consciousness. The seventh state is unity consciousness. And I'll let Heterodox Hippie explain the first 4.
Yeah, so with the first 4 states of consciousness, the first 3 are something we're always experiencing. Like, well, one of them, you know, like...
Yeah, like that's what the majority of people are aware of and only
Yeah,
know of.
like, we are always experiencing waking, deep sleep, or dreaming. And whilst we're experiencing these 3, we continue to experience these 3 as we go into the higher states of consciousness. They, like, bridge together. But, so I'm sure, like, everyone's familiar with the sound Om, you know, AUM or OM.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the symbol for Om actually represents the first 4 states of consciousness. You got, you know, the waking, deep sleep, and dreaming. They're all represented by Om, and then the silence that comes after the noise Om. So if you say Om, the third, like the silence after it, is actually what represents the 4th state of consciousness. And the fourth state of consciousness, like, I don't need to explain the first 3 because they're obvious. But the 4th state is basically your first dip into samadhi. So your first ever experience of pure awareness, away from your body, complete mental stillness, complete sensory stillness. You are simply still. And that is what samadhi is. It's your first kind of dip into that stillness. And that's why the fourth state is called pure awareness, because it is the first time you've ever tasted pure awareness. Like, as soon as you break into samadhi once, you are considered into the fourth state of consciousness. But the fourth state is a kind of weird state because it's like a transitional state. It's like bridging the gap between the higher and the lows, and it's the only one that isn't really considered to be experienced through other states of consciousness. Like, the way the fourth and the fifth tie in, fourth is like your first experience of it, and your fifth is like the constant experience of it. And the way you go through the fourth to the fifth is by constantly going in the the fourth state of consciousness. So I mean, that's the first four. I think actually it'd be worth mentioning that deep sleep is the state. We go through it every night. We go from dreaming sleep into deep sleep, and deep sleep is where we are supposedly entirely unconscious. Like, we enter delta brainwaves for a while, which is basically like a coma. And the only reason we have any recollection of that happening is because of memory. If we didn't have memory, then like we wouldn't have known it happened. Like, we are just unconscious completely. Waking, obviously, you know, you're awake, and dreaming, you're dreaming. So I'm going to let you break down the next states of consciousness.
Yeah, and from the words of Maharishi Yogi, with the ability of the nervous system to stay in contact with the fourth state of consciousness, you begin to develop that one can sustain the inner silence, that unbounded inner reality simultaneously, while one is doing things, thinking thoughts, being active. Eventually, that becomes stabilized and it becomes a permanent state of consciousness, which Maharishi called the cosmic consciousness. You could also call cosmic consciousness, the fifth state, a witness consciousness. And you could say that the pure consciousness now is understood to be your real self. Your sublime self is actually that pure eternal consciousness. And yeah, the transformation takes place where everything that had previously considered to be you is seen through and discovered to just be some phenomenal thing going on. And it's not just you, your little ego that motors around and feels so important. You discover that, oh shit, that is not what I am, but you're not separate from it at the same time.
It's like, experiencing yourself.
A permanent way, like, as what you really are.
Yeah.
It's the inner silence, and the whole outer world is being transient or transitory or illusory. Yeah, but continue.
It's a good state. I mean, like, it's a good way of wording it, like noticing the divide, because what oneness really is kind of stripping away all the illusions. So when you're in that fifth state, you're kind of in the illusion with one foot out of the illusion at the same time. I think the fifth state, instead of mental stillness, it's more complete concentration. So like single point focus, if you get what I mean. Like, your mind doesn't really stray away. You just kind of, you have something on hand, and that's what's getting done. Like, it's almost completely immersed into the now.
Yeah. And should we move on to the sixth state?
Yeah.
Well, the sixth state being God consciousness. It's this connection with what's deepest within, and that creates the capacity to see more deeply. And when you have this perception of the outer world, it becomes deeper and more subtle. Attention goes to more and more pleasing levels, and subtle whatever, more pleasing, more unbounded, closer to that pure level where everything is bliss, and your heart chakra opens up, and that's the most powerful force in this entire universe.
Love.
Yes, and that's when you feel the love. You don't experience the love. You don't become the love or the one, but you recognize it. You're aware of it.
And you're feeling it. Like,
yeah.
Again, it's like having one foot in, one foot out, but this time, instead of knowing about it, you are like actually feeling it. Like you're feeling it through your individual self.
Yeah. Like you feel this luminous sense within, but you feel like the connection with everyone else, and yeah, simultaneously you receive. yeah.
And God consciousness is also known as Christ consciousness.
Yeah.
That's worth mentioning. Like as
what
we
spoke of.
Yeah.
Previously.
As we said in our past podcast, Christ consciousness is, it's coming to us. It is going to be the return. We are ascending into that state of consciousness soon. Well, maybe not soon, but that's what the Bible refers to, like the second coming of Christ consciousness. That's what we're heading towards.
Yeah. But it's the uniting of duality from the lower consciousness of the human form to the higher consciousness of the spirit. If that makes sense.
That's a good way of wording it. It is a good way of wording it.
Most people keep these two separate, living within the outer consciousness, within the 5 elementary states of the 5 senses.
Yeah. And
forgetting or not being aware or knowing about the inner higher consciousness of the spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
so
is recognizing the universal source that directs the higher mind to manifest the correct journey that the source has created for your soul or spirit, whatever you want to call it, to experience its own creation, so that it could bring about balance and harmony within yourself and all things around you. And when it's within, it projects outwards onto everyone else. Because we're all mirrors.
We are all mirrors. That's a good thing to mention.
When I say that to people, some people around here at least, they take it literally. Not literally, but they don't really grasp the concept. They're like, what?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I think people forget that no matter how aware of it you actually are, you are still a mirror. People seem to think once you're conscious that people stop being mirrors, but that's not the case. That's not how it works.
Not at all.
We are permanently mirrors. We are permanently projecting our own light onto something, and we are viewing it in that light. It's how we perceive reality. It doesn't change. It doesn't matter how conscious you are still looking at someone in the way you feel right now, because that's how you create your reality.
Yeah. But on to the 7th state of consciousness. The 7th stage of consciousness is this spirit or light. Or it is the emanation from the absolute, the creator of all that is.
Yeah.
It is a state rather than a being.
Yeah.
And these 7 stages of consciousness that a spark of light creates, so it may experience its own light in some form of matter. Like, imagine in your mind that you could create many things. Some call it daydreaming, others call it a vivid imagination.
Yeah.
And this is what happens in the ethereal realms. The creation of light creates so many things within the universal mind, and just through these 7 stages of consciousnness that eventually it will manifest itself as matter and experience its own creation. And that's synonymous with oneness, I believe.
Yep. That is,
I don't know how, if I nailed it or not. I don't know.
nah, I think you got it spot on. Like, the seventh state is, it's basically like if we imagine everything we see to be like a movie screen. So you add on a movie screen for emotions, you add a movie screen for thoughts, you add a movie screen for like who you are,
Yeah.
and then all these screens are always changing. They're always like they've got something different on them. But behind all the screens, you've got that one constant, the one thing that remains beyond everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So you get rid of all these screens, and all you're left with is what you are, what you truly have been this whole time. You know, there's no screens, there's no filters left. You are just it. You are it all. You're the infinite.
Yeah.
There's so many different words for it. Like in Taoism, it's the Tao or just Tao.
Yeah.
Like you've got oneness, you've got God, you've got the source, you've got the creator. Like it doesn't matter what fucking label you put on it. Like at the end of it is just simply all that is and all that will ever be.
Yeah. Like, I see it as the same thing as what you're saying, but in just different wording. It's just like everything you see or witness or perceive, you're experiencing that at the same time as you witness it.
Yeah.
Like you are it. You are all,
Yeah,
and you are one with all that is, and you literally are one with all that is.
yeah,
No
like
separation.
people. I think that's where a lot of people get caught up with this. They don't really recognize that they are right now. They're still experiencing the one. They are part of the one,
Yeah.
but it's just this kind of individual self that kind of confuses them and thinks that they're not the one right now.
Yeah.
But you are the one right now. Like ascending to this state of being is just removing what's been added. It's not adding anything new. Like you don't suddenly become like
Yeah,
a,
there's more subtraction than addition.
exactly. There's like, but I guess there are some like different views on it, like different views on oneness. Like oneness doesn't necessarily have to mean that suddenly you're lost. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't have to mean that your individuality has suddenly disappeared. I guess there's I can't remember what religion it is, what belief system it is, but there is one where they believe that integration into oneness simply means that instead of being caught up in the physical existence, you leave all that behind and you go and join like the ascended ones. And in the ascended ones, you basically aid in the creation and development of the universe. You're like part of the higher force. You're above all the incarnations and all that shit, and you're just kind of, doing what you do. You're letting people do what they do, and you're the divine force behind it all.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty cool way of looking at it. Because, you'll still be yourself. You'll just be yourself at a very high state of existence where you're impacting on other people readily.
Yeah, I see it. We're like the co-creators of reality.
Yeah.
I won't say the creators, but the co-creators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And integration into oneness is kind of viewed as like, instead of becoming a co-creator, you're one of the, lead developers.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. But for another perspective on oneness that I like to share, it's that whether you're aware of it or not, when you look into someone else's eyes or at anyone else, you're only looking at yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the oneness. Like, that's not experiencing it, but that's being aware of it, and that's the first step to experiencing the oneness and feeling the oneness.
I agree.
So yeah, I'm trying to just simplify this all for the people that don't really know much about it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. I guess the easiest way to simplify would be like, you can know it, and then you can feel it, and then you can experience it. Like,
Yeah.
I guess I don't know how you would differentiate between feeling it and experiencing it, but it's almost like when you feel it, you're completely aware of it and you're completely embracing of it. But when you're experiencing it, you're no longer feeling it. You're experiencing it. You're immersed in it.
Yeah, like you become it.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And well, I guess that is the end of the podcast.
I hope all of you awesome souls enjoy this one.
Yeah,
Heterodox, do you have any closing statements?
We had some technical difficulty with this one.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was pretty funny.
This hour, this 50, maybe 55-minute podcast took about 3.5 hours.
To record.
Yeah, to record.
It's been an interesting experience. We hope to bring you some more podcasts soon. We've actually got some guests lined up.
We'll keep that as a surprise.
Oh yeah. Actually, it'd probably be best if you follow us on Twitter. You might have seen one of the guests that we've got lined up. We're not going to spoil it for you because we're actually really excited about it.
Oh yeah.
We're really excited to pick his brain.
Yeah, I'm a bit intimidated, but yeah.
For real.
It'll be an incredible experience.
Well, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you for bearing with us. We really hope you enjoyed it. We hope, we've given you a fresh perspective on something.
Yeah, and remember, you don't have to use psychedelics to awaken yourself. Back to where we started. You don't have to. It's not necessary, but it can help.
And we hope you enjoyed this. So
yeah.
Love and light.
Yeah, stay one.
Stay one. Okay, take it easy. And we'll be bringing you the next podcast soon, I imagine.
Yeah.
So
Namaste.
Namaste.
Listeners. And don't forget to subscribe and rate 5 stars if you enjoyed this.
Oh yeah, shit, definitely do.
And if you don't enjoy it, don't rate it at all.
We need your support.
Yeah. We're trying to awaken as many people as we possibly can, or teach as many people as we possibly can. So yeah.
Just want to get the message
out. Yeah, we love all of you. Stay knowledgeable. Keep spreading information. And yeah.
Love and light.
Peace out.